Hello everybody. In this video, this is long overdue in my opinion. I have been meaning to do a COVID-19 is not a lung virus video for quite a while. This is relatively not really new information, but I find most of the general public doesn't really know it yet. And this is firmly found in science. This is not a, I will not be quoting research studies and things in this. If you want to do the deeper dive and find out, then you are more than welcome to. If you're watching this video, then you just have to assume that I have done the research for you, and I'm going to put it in a layperson's perspective on why COVID-19 is not a lung virus and how it is attacking the body and what you can do to prevent its devastating effects. So if you don't know me, my name is Dr. Philip Oob. I am a functional medicine doctor here in Austin, Texas. I have a COVID-19 email chain that has started, so if you want more updates like these and testing and all kinds of stuff, just text COVID-19 to that number right there, or go to my website, oobmedical.com/COVID-19, and you can learn more. So without further ado, let's dive right in. And so what are we going over today? I'm going to be going over the pathophysiology of COVID-19. Briefly, we're going to do how does COVID-19 cause lung damage? How can I protect my oxidative stress pathways? You'll learn about that. How can I boost my immune system? And do not take hydroxychloroquine and azithromycin. There's a spelling error in there. No big deal. So first I want to say that COVID-19 does not attack the lung. This is a healthy lung. This is an acute respiratory distress lung, clearly a very cloudy ground glass opacities, as we call it in medicine, and not a lot of oxygen happening in here. The oxygenated areas are the dark areas, and clearly there's too much fluid in the lungs to be able to conduct oxygen. So yes, this is lung damage, but it's not directly from the COVID-19 virus. So let's talk about that a little further. So COVID-19, the main way it damages your body is it damages your hemoglobin. Now, hemoglobin is a relatively common term. A lot of people know what hemoglobin is, but in this diagram, I kind of break it down a bit. So the COVID-19 virus over there, the red spiky thing, as you've probably come to be very familiar with, attacks the hemoglobin molecules inside of your bloodstream. So COVID-19 enters through the sinuses, through the lungs, through the mouth, through any respiratory orifice, your eyes, for example, or respiratory mucosa, and that's how it's going to get inside of the body. Just because it enters into the lungs does not mean that's how it damages it. So after it's inside of the body, it starts roaming the bloodstream as it's multiplying, and as it's multiplying in the body, it's damaging the hemoglobin molecules inside of the red blood cell. So what you may not know is a red blood cell is red because of the iron. Iron binds to oxygen and then it turns red, and that's why arterial blood is red and venous blood, which is low oxygen, is blue, because the hemoglobin molecule or protein changes color as it absorbs oxygen, and that's how those oxygen sensors work in your finger, is detecting the level of redness to find out how good your oxygen saturation is. So it's inside of the red blood cell, the COVID-19 particle is inside of the red blood cell, it's attacking the hemoglobin molecule, and then that's causing damage. So let's dive into that a little bit further. So now we know that COVID-19 damages hemoglobin molecules, and the hemoglobin molecule is made up of several components. But the most important part of the hemoglobin molecule is this little iron molecule right here that we all know about, is that this iron molecule is the thing that's carrying oxygen. So if you damage the hemoglobin protein, you can't carry oxygen, and so that leads directly to hypoxia. Hypoxia is just a fancy way of saying low oxygen, right? Hypo means low, oxia is oxygen. If you have low oxygen, then you're not breathing very well. Now, this has created an interesting issue in conventional medicine where they've termed these COVID-19 patients frequently happy hypoxic. Typically, when someone's hypoxic, they feel like they're being strangled, they're suffocating, they're anxious, they're irritable, they are dying. It is not a pretty picture. So they've termed these early COVID-19 patients as happy hypoxics because they feel pretty good, yet their oxygen levels are atrocious. We just typically don't see this kind of stuff in medicine. When you see someone's oxygen levels this low, they are sick and they are dying, they are not doing well. Well, there's very healthy people that are relatively hypoxic for the amount of how happy they are. So it directly damages hemoglobin, which directly causes hypoxia, and this has nothing to do with ARDS, the ARDS of the lung damage. This is directly causing hypoxia by preventing you from carrying oxygen. So that's one step, but it also causes further damage. So as the hemoglobin gets destroyed, so the hemoglobin is the big protein, but if you notice in this diagram, there's 4 little green rings, almost like quarters in here, and I've circled them in red if you can see them. And these little green molecules are actually a chemical structure. That's what this green thing over here is. It's a chemical structure. So it's a protein holding a chemical structure, and this chemical structure is the thing that's holding the iron. And then the iron binds to the oxygen. So first step is that this thing damages the hemoglobin molecule. When it damages the hemoglobin molecule, COVID-19, it releases heme, okay? And the heme is once again carrying the iron. When the heme is released, it also happens to release the iron. It can't hold on to it perfectly. That's why this hemoglobin molecule exists. It holds on to the heme and helps the heme hold on to the iron, and it's kind of a partnership. So when this heme is freely floating in the bloodstream, it unintentionally releases its iron. And this was rather new to me, that there's the iron. I've circled it there, so the iron molecule. Once the iron is free and floating, it apparently creates an oxidative stress in the system. Now, if you haven't been a part of functional medicine or haven't done much reading on detox and inflammation, the word oxidative stress or the phrase oxidative stress may be a rather new term. But the way I want you to think of it is any animal that uses oxygen to create energy makes oxidative stress. That's all that means, is when you're burning oxygen as an energy, you make oxygen byproducts when you're using that oxygen for energy, and those oxygen byproducts are damaging to the system. It's no different than putting gasoline in your car and you get all this carbon buildup and damage from the gasoline and the emissions out of the exhaust pipe. Those are gasoline stressors to the car. So that's why an electric car doesn't have those things, right? Because it doesn't have the gasoline stress. So we breathe oxygen for energy, so we have oxidative stress. Now the interesting part is if you let that oxidative stress go on for too long, it starts activating your immune system, and what you've probably heard is cytokine storm is the real problem in this entire pathway. So why is cytokine storm the problem? Because this is a dysregulated immune system. It is like giving the military full privilege to shoot to kill. Anywhere you are, just start killing, start shooting because something is wrong in the body. It's an inappropriate dysregulation. So the immune system just goes haywire creating these cytokines. And then for some reason, it loves to attack the lungs. This cytokine storm is the part that then begins attacking the lungs. So I want you to notice these are two totally separate processes. Although the lungs do oxygenate the body, you cannot carry oxygen without hemoglobin. So this means you can't even get the oxygen in. This means that you can get the oxygen in, but you just can't carry it around the body. So clearly, by the time you get to this picture, you are already hypoxic. So by the time you get to ARDS, you are very sick and you are no longer this happy hypoxic. You are dying. The only option there, once you get there, is a ventilator. So let's go a little bit further into, okay, now we know that, just run this one more time, COVID-19 directly damages your hemoglobin. Once you release the heme from the hemoglobin, this green molecule, then you release the iron from this molecule, and then the excessive iron is inflammatory to the body, activates the oxidative stress system, which in turn activates the cytokine storm that damages the lungs. So let's go into the oxidative stress system, I guess is my next picture. So this is just describing that excessive iron stimulates your ROS production, which is reactive oxygen species. That's just another way of saying oxygen byproducts. They're reactive and they're oxygen species, or free radicals. Anything that's radical is above and beyond, it's radical, it's crazy. So these crazy reactive oxygen species will damage anything. It leads to oxidative stress, which leads to more hemoglobin production, which leads to more, and you see the cycle. I don't need to beat that any further. So that's how excessive iron causes oxidative stress. This is just a picture depicting how the immune system uses all these cytokines. Cytokines it's kind of like walking by a restaurant and smelling the food, and you're like, oh, something smells good, I need to go in there. That's exactly what a cytokine is. A cytokine is an inflammatory molecule that activates the immune system or activates your hunger and says, hey, go get it, go eat, go attack, whatever it is. So when you have too many cytokines, all of these immune cells, the macrophages, the dendritic, no, there's another spelling mistake. That one's not mine. The dendritic cells, fibroblasts, all that stuff, start creating all kinds of inflammatory markers that then cause all of these problems. The fever, the hematopoietic dysfunction, that's carrying oxygen. The DIC, which is the blood clotting, all these things that you've probably already heard of that COVID-19 causes. All bad stuff, right? But it's too late by the time the cytokine storm is hitting. We've got to work earlier upstream before you get to that waterfall. It's like being on that kayak going along and there's the waterfall. You better start paddling before you get to the waterfall, because by the time you're in the waterfall, you're not paddling out of that, right? So let's summarize this a little bit more in treatment. So this is the exact same idea that I had on the previous diagram. So COVID-19 damages the hemoglobin, which causes hypoxia, but it also damages the heme, the iron, the oxidative stress, cytokine storm, and ARDS. So what are our treatment or preventive options? So first, you can just prevent getting COVID-19. That may not be possible depending on if you have to go to work or what kind of environment you live in or work in. And so prevent it as best you can. It's estimated that 75% of people are going to get it anyway. But social distancing, stay 6 feet away, do all that jazz. I don't need to go over that. Masks, I'm a big proponent of masks, and I'm tired of people saying that masks don't work. I want to do a totally separate video on how masks work and why they work. If they didn't work, we wouldn't wear them in hospitals, guys. And then, of course, hand washing. That seems pretty standard. But the idea behind the surface is chilling out. Even the CDC just recently released a statement saying that this thing is not as contagious through surfaces as we thought. It is a respiratory transmitted virus, which is why the masks are so important at this point. And then, of course, you can try to manage the viral replication once it's gotten into your body. So if you haven't prevented it and you got COVID-19, then you want to try to slow the virus down as fast as possible, because the faster the virus replicates, the more damage it does. The more damage it does, the more you have to manage, and you may not be able to keep up, and that's how you end up at ARDS. So the trick is to slow the virus from replicating as much as you can, develop immunity as quickly as you can. That way you never end up here. If you notice, the people that are getting sick and ending up on ventilators and getting ARDS and stuff, they're sick for weeks before they end up in this phase. And why is that? It's because their immune system was never able to stop the virus from replicating, and they overwhelm their oxidative stress systems. If you're not protecting your oxidative stress system, then it's easier to get overwhelmed. But if you're not protecting your immune system, then it's going to let the virus run rampant for too long, and there's no protecting it from the amount of oxidative stress it's going to carry. And then your only option is ending up on a ventilator and hoping that you can make it through it. Because as you've probably seen on various posts, the ventilator itself causes damage. It uses positive pressure inside the lungs and damages the lungs. It uses really high oxygen levels, which high oxygen levels seem like it would help you, but too high of oxygen levels is actually damaging to the body. So you've really got to work on preventing this from ever happening before you actually end up on the ventilator, okay? So next step is, after you've damaged the hemoglobin, we really can't do anything through here until the iron gets released and starts stressing your oxidative stress system. So we want to start protecting that oxidative stress system. And these are the things you can use. Now, there are a ton of things that protect your oxidative stress system, and there's even a lot that overlaps between the immune system. So anything that boosts your immune system can frequently protect your oxidative stress system. So vitamin C, I didn't go over the supplements for viral replication. Zinc is a big one, and I'll go over the doses in a second. But to slow viral replication, zinc is a big deal. That's why there's ICAMs and all that. So zinc helps your immune system. It works on the zinc zippers, kind of like the iron and heme. There's zinc zippers inside of your immune cells that stimulate things. I know that was way back in my biochemistry days. I don't remember all the details. Vitamin C is a big deal in the immune system, as probably everyone already knows. And then elderberry is also useful in the immune system. You'll notice also that over here in the treatment for the oxidative stress, vitamin C is utilized again. So I'm not the biggest proponent of vitamin C. A lot of my patients know that I don't recommend it all the time because I don't feel like it's that powerful. But in this situation it is, because it's got a dual effect. It's boosting the immune system and it's boosting the oxidative stress system, or the oxidative stress resistance system. But the bigger components is going to be NAC, which is N-acetylcysteine. It's the precursor to glutathione. NAC and glutathione are your main defense mechanism against this oxidative stress. So this is the key right here, NAC and glutathione. You can't really overdose on this stuff. Just so you know, if you go into the ER with Tylenol overdose, one of the main treatments for Tylenol overdose is NAC. They give it to you IV and they give you a really big dose. And the reason why is because Tylenol is burning up your glutathione levels, and if you run out of glutathione, you practically die. So they give you NAC to help turn into glutathione in order to attack the Tylenol. They don't stock glutathione in the ERs, otherwise they'd probably be giving that. Vitamin C is useful here because vitamin C actually helps you regenerate glutathione. So after glutathione gets used in the oxidative stress world, it goes from a reduced glutathione into a oxidized glutathione, and that makes sense, right? Because there's oxidative stress. So glutathione is the buffer, so it's receiving that oxidative stress, and it itself is getting oxidized in order to save that system it's protecting. But vitamin C can go in and actually recycle glutathione back to reduced so that it can do more work. And so they pass it back and forth, and then the vitamin C gets urinated out, so that's why you can take extra vitamin C to protect yourself. Nitric oxide is a big deal. Really don't have time in this video to go over nitric oxide, but it's a big deal in the whole lung saving section. oxidative stress, gosh, so many things. The supplement we use there is called Neo40. B complex are the vitamins that go to feed into the NAC glutathione system. So if you don't have enough B vitamins, then they get burned up in the process, and then you can't make more NAC naturally, and you're stuck with how much you're taking. So you want to produce more NAC as well as take it. And then, of course, we do IV infusions. I've got a customized COVID-19 infusion protocol that is basically designed to give you Myers cocktail, extra vitamin C, extra glutathione, in order to boost your immune system, but also to prevent this oxidative stress, because this is where all the damage is. So the time to do the IV infusion protocol is before you're in the hospital getting the ARDS, although it can help by that point. So when people are getting sick, that's when we're recommending starting the IV infusion to prevent ever getting to that place. And just like most things with preventive medicine, if you prevent yourself from going to the hospital, you may think, oh, well, that was pointless, I didn't need it. Well, no, it could have prevented you. Maybe you would have fought the virus on your own and you would have not needed those infusions, but it's kind of too late by the time you're waiting until you're in the hospital. So those are all the things you can do to treat your oxidative stress system. And then lastly, of course, if you have waited until your cytokine storm has immensely damaged your lungs, or that you are so profoundly hypoxic that you can't manage your own oxygen levels, then the only treatments are supplemental oxygen, and then of course, if you have to, a ventilator. I am really irritated with people on Facebook saying that ventilators are not the answer. You are correct that there are things we can do before the ventilator, but you need to stop saying that people don't need a ventilator. By the time you were in ARDS, your options are to be on a ventilator or die. That's your only two options. So while I do agree we should not be relying on ventilators, we should be doing these things beforehand, you cannot say that ventilators are not the answer, because ultimately, if you can't breathe, you will want someone to put you on a ventilator. Here are the details on the supplements recommended. This PowerPoint will be available if you sign up online, the oobmedical.com/COVID-19, and you put your email address in. You'll get an email giving you all of these resources, so this PowerPoint will be on there. So the supplements and the doses we recommend real quick: zinc picolinate, 30 milligrams a day. You can also do twice a day. I preferably like zinc levels in your serum above 85. So if you're not sure how much to take, check your zinc level. If it's below 85, take it once or twice a day, depending on how much you want to get above 85. I really like over 100, but 85 is kind of my bare minimum. Vitamin C, you can take 1,000 milligrams twice a day. You may want to start at 500 milligrams twice a day and work your way up. You can take mega doses of vitamin C. I'm not the biggest fan of mega dosing vitamin C, but you just have to be careful, because if you take too much vitamin C, you will poop your pants. It will cause diarrhea. You need to work your way up to higher doses in order to establish what we call bowel tolerance of the vitamin C. Then elderberry, I'm not as familiar with the dosing on elderberry. We use Viracid, which has elderberry in it, I believe. Viracid's made by Orthomolecular. Those two we currently use from Pure Encapsulations, if you want to use the ones we use. NAC, 600 milligrams twice a day. There's a lot of companies that make NAC. Just make sure you get a good quality one. We use Pure Encapsulations for that one. Glutathione, you want to make sure you get a liposomal version and a very well-trusted version. I am very picky on the glutathione I use. I only use two specific glutathiones, or really only one in the office, but you can't buy it online. So the one you want to get online is the Pure Encapsulations one that is liposomal and Cetria based. The one we get is actually compounded at a pharmacy in Alabama. It's not prescription, it's over the counter, but I have found it to be immensely more productive than any other glutathione I've tried. Then again, there's vitamin C. The nitric oxide booster is the Neo40. That's at 1 tablet twice a day to boost your nitric oxide levels. B complex, can't really overdose on B vitamins, but once a day minimum, preferably twice a day. And then of course, I've got my customized COVID-19 infusion protocols that if you're getting sick, you want to protect those oxidative stress systems. That's going to be your best way, because we can give you way higher doses IV than you can get orally, and it's 100% absorbed since we're putting it directly in the IV, right? This is real quick. This actually came out this morning, the recording of this video. Do not take hydroxychloroquine and azithromycin, and I spelled it right that time, it looks like. So the data has been waffling for a while now. Oh, it's effective. Oh, maybe not effective. But this is a very large trial that was finally published. Unfortunately, I only had the Washington Post version, but stay tuned to my Facebook. I'll be posting the actual article, because this was a huge trial. It pretty much puts the last nail in the coffin for me. I don't care if you give zinc with hydroxychloroquine or azithromycin. It's not that effective. Maybe we're waiting too long to use it, but 69,000 patients, more died while taking hydroxychloroquine and or HCQ and azithromycin. More people died on the treatment. So I don't care what other doctor is promoting out there that, oh, I treated 10 patients and they all lived. No. This is the largest study to date of was it 96,000 patients, I think, and more died than lived. So that's not the answer. Disregard the political part. This has gotten to be a big political issue, and in my opinion, it's a scientific issue, not a political issue. So how do I get help? You can buy supplements. You can go online to our website. We've got a store that you can buy these supplements and the high quality ones, ubemedical.com/protocols for that, or you can just call us directly. We can ship to you. You can also schedule appointments. We're taking new patients. We'd love to see you. Just call our office, go to ubemedical.com/new patients, or just click new patients at the top right on our website. And of course, if you want to do the IV protocol, you don't need to be a patient of mine to do the IV protocol. So if you or a loved one's getting sick and want to do my customized COVID-19 infusion protocol, you're more than welcome to call us. We'll discuss pricing and all that. The contact information is on the bottom of this slide. We are doing COVID-19 testing. As of this time, we have all the tests. We've got the PCR swab, the rapid blood spot test that takes 15 minutes, and then we've got the serum test that we can send out. And we've got both insurance prices and non-insurance prices if you don't have insurance. And then, of course, if you're not a patient, you can still get tested. We charge a nurse fee associated with it, and then we can use your insurance or cash pay, whichever you have. And then, of course, if you sign up online by texting COVID-19 to that phone number or going to ubemedical.com/COVID-19, you'll get my top 10 immune boosting tips. That goes a little bit deeper than just taking zinc, basically. It's about what to eat and stress and sleep and all that stuff. So I don't want to give away all my tips. And there's way more information on that. So once you sign up, you'll immediately get an email that gives you the links to all of these documents. And I believe that is it. So I hope you appreciated this video, and I hope you start correcting other people online that COVID-19 is not directly attacking the lungs, as it's attacking your hemoglobin, which is causing oxidative stress, which is causing cytokine storm, which is causing ARDS. If you can say that at a dinner party when they're allowed again, you're going to sound really smart. So study up and make sure you got your language correctly. If you have any questions, comments, please leave them. Share this video and subscribe to my YouTube. Follow me on Facebook, do all that jazz. And of course, most importantly, take care of your health. And if you need further direction, call my office, become a patient. Good luck out there, guys.